A King's Guard horse has bitten off a little more than it could chew, taking a chomp on this poor tourist. It happened in London, with the tourist clearly getting a little too close to the royal animal. Ouch.
Thankfully, considering the frequency of exercise and numbers of horses involved, this type of incident is extremely rare, and we continue to strive to minimise the risk of this recurring.
The King's Guards are one of the most elite soldiers with unmatched discipline and composure in the world. But when a mysterious woman approaches a royal guard for more than a pose for the camera,
King Charles has appeared to briefly lose his patience and scold a guard during the American president's visit. The monarch seems to have tried to get the president to finish a conversation and failed to get him moving and directed his ire at the guard.
tradition meets tension, defying centuries of royal protocol. A subtle break in his composure hints at something far deeper than duty. Could this be rebellion? Or perhaps the start of an unlikely connection? Join us as we reveal the captivating story of a royal guard breaking character when a woman asks him this. Moment of human connection. In the busy streets of London, where traditions have stood strong for centuries, one surprising interaction caught everyone off guard and made tourists question everything they thought they knew about the King's Guard.
So I recall the St James's Palace detachment of the King's Guard alongside the band of the Coldstream Guards.
That day, near the historic St James's Palace, the area was alive with activity. Hundreds of visitors had gathered, their cameras poised, eager to snap photos of the famous royal guards. These soldiers, known worldwide for their unwavering discipline and ability to remain completely unshaken, were the center of attention. In the crowd of tourists, a petite woman in a black jacket stood out. While most people kept their distance, she approached the guard with a mix of curiosity and bravery. All around her, warning signs were posted, clearly stating the risks. Beware, horses may kick or bite. These signs usually kept even the boldest tourists at a safe distance. The guard, standing firm in his perfectly maintained uniform, stayed completely still at his post. His horse embodied both grace and potential danger. The tourists around them watched closely, a sense of anticipation and nervousness in the air, aware of the strict rules and traditions that the guards must follow. What made this encounter stand out was the woman's approach. She didn't rush or act carelessly. Instead, she kept a respectful distance while starting a conversation. Her body language showed that she was genuinely interested in connecting with the guard beyond his ceremonial role. Though their conversation was too quiet to hear, it seemed to be engaging. Surprisingly, the guard appeared open to it. Most royal guards are trained to remain completely still and avoid interacting with the public. But this moment suggested a rare break in that strict discipline. The most curious part came when the woman took out her phone. Onlookers wondered what was happening. Was she asking for contact information, trying to capture a unique moment, or simply documenting this unusual exchange? London's Royal Guards, part of the prestigious Household Division, go through intense training that focuses on emotional control and a strong dedication to their duties. Their job isn't just about looking good for tourists. They're active duty soldiers, tasked with protecting royal residences and properties. These guards are more than just a tourist attraction. They're highly trained military professionals selected from elite infantry regiments. Their training isn't just about standing still. They're also prepared for any potential security threat, all while maintaining complete composure. The woman's approach was different from what most visitors are used to. Typically, tourists are content to snap photos from a distance, respecting the guard's space and their professional boundaries. But her boldness showed a more personal human side to an interaction that's usually viewed as purely ceremonial. Royal Guards are known for their strict adherence to protocol. They undergo intense training to stay perfectly still and focused, no matter what's going on around them. Their uniforms, which include traditional bearskin hats and precise military attire, reflect centuries of British military tradition. This encounter offered a rare glimpse of human vulnerability in a system that's designed to seem unshakable. It showed that even in the most disciplined settings, moments of genuine human connection can happen when least expected.
In the gardens of Buckingham Palace, Lieutenant Colonel James Colby will give the command for the Royal Salute, and then the national anthem will be played by the massed bands of the Household Division led by Lieutenant Colonel David Barringer.
As the interaction unfolded, other tourists watched with a mix of fascination and respect. The guards' willingness to engage, even if just for a moment, suggested that beneath the rigid exterior, these soldiers are real people capable of authentic interaction. Though the details of their conversation remain unknown, the moment left an impression on everyone present. It was a brief but meaningful break in the usually predictable routine of royal ceremonial duties. After the fascinating encounter near St. James's Palace, one wonders, do these seemingly unflappable guards ever show their human side beneath those perfect uniforms? The answer may surprise you. Breaking protocol. The King's Guard, famous for their strict discipline, sometimes shows unexpected moments of compassion that change how the public sees them. These rare moments offer a glimpse of the human side of soldiers who are usually seen as emotionless protectors. One particularly touching moment involved a King's Guard and a young disabled woman outside St. James's Palace. As tourists gathered around, snapping photos and keeping their distance, something extraordinary happened. The soldier, noticing a woman in a wheelchair, made an unexpected decision that would touch countless hearts. Breaking from his usual protocol, the guard carefully brought his horse closer to the young woman. The horse, usually known for being unpredictable and potentially dangerous, responded with surprising gentleness. As the horse nuzzled her face, the woman's pure joy was clear. Her head tilted back in a moment of unfiltered happiness. Onlookers were stunned. One woman in a white top commented, "No one gets that." The crowd's reaction, audible gasps, and expressions of amazement showed just how remarkable this moment was. In a world where these guards are famous for their strict adherence to rules, this act of kindness was nothing short of groundbreaking. The video quickly went viral on social media, with thousands of shares and likes. People were drawn to the genuine human connection, even in such a disciplined environment. Comments flooded in, praising the soldiers' compassion and the horse's seemingly intuitive understanding of the moment. One viewer, capturing the magical nature of the interaction, wrote that it was almost like the horse sensed something special about her. Another added that she had seen the King's Guards 100 times, and they don't move for anyone. She described it as absolutely wonderful. This moment's significance goes beyond the usual ceremonial display. The King's Guard are elite soldiers, tasked with protecting the monarch and royal properties. Their training requires intense focus and minimal interaction with the public. They don't take breaks during their 2-hour shifts and must march through any distractions. Interactions with their horses are even rarer. Just a month before, tourists had been injured after getting too close to the horses. One tourist had fainted after being bitten by an unsettled horse, and another was headbutted. Both incidents became viral moments. But this time was different. The soldiers' careful and kind handling of the horse revealed a deep understanding of human emotion and a willingness to create a moment of pure joy. The Lifeguards and King's Guard, part of the household cavalry, have a rich history of military service. The King's Guards have been involved in global conflicts, protected royal residences, and upheld British military traditions for centuries.
But it was pleasantly cool in the stables at Horse Guards Parade for the daily preparations by the household cavalry for long hours in full regalia.
Yet, moments like this remind us that behind the uniform, there are individuals capable of extraordinary compassion. This wasn't a one-off event. Several videos have surfaced, showing King's Guards breaking protocol to show kindness, suggesting that sometimes humanity can rise above even the strictest military training. The woman in the wheelchair received more than just a horse's nuzzle that day. She was given a moment of real human connection, a brief instance where a soldier, highly trained to follow protocol, chose compassion instead. As this story spread, it shifted how people viewed military personnel. It showed that discipline and empathy don't have to be at odds. It was a powerful reminder that behind every uniform, every seemingly unyielding exterior, there is a human heart, capable of remarkable kindness. The heartwarming moment of compassion between the guard, his horse, and the disabled woman makes one wonder. What makes these majestic horses so fascinating, yet potentially dangerous? When royal horses become temperamental, the horses of the King's Guard aren't just there for show. They're real, living animals with their own personalities and unpredictable behaviors. Warning signs posted near their stations clearly state, "Beware, horses may kick or bite," emphasizing the potential risks of these powerful creatures. Multiple documented incidents reveal the volatile nature of these military horses. In one shocking event last month, a tourist wearing a Pink Floyd t-shirt and black baseball cap was bitten on the arm by an unsettled horse. The incident was so dramatic that the stunned tourist seemingly went into shock, falling to the ground while onlookers watched in disbelief. Another notable incident happened when a woman trying to take a photograph was headbutted by a horse outside Buckingham Palace.
King Charles's guard horse going viral after biting a tourist. Boy, howdy, the horse took a chomp just as that woman steps beside it for a photo, but if you do look closely enough, you can perhaps see the sign behind her warning.
The dramatic fall with her bag flying off and landing face down on the pavement quickly went viral, drawing attention to the horse's unpredictable and sometimes aggressive behavior. In May, a significant incident occurred when a tourist touched a horse while posing for a photo. The horse quickly reacted, swinging its head and grabbing onto her sari. The video went viral, racking up over 855,000 views, and served as a clear warning about the risks of getting too close to these animals. In January, there was another dramatic moment when a female tourist posed near a horse, only for it to bite her black puffer jacket and pull her around. These incidents highlight the importance of keeping a safe distance from the horses. The horses are not just for decoration. They play an active role in the complex military ceremonies that the guards perform. Every morning, the mounted King's Life Guard rides from Hyde Park Barracks through central London, performing a precisely choreographed ceremony that requires exceptional training and discipline from both horse and rider. The horses that serve with the King's Guard come from the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment, which includes two main squadrons: the Life Guards in red tunics with white plumes, and the Blues and Royals in blue tunics with red plumes. Choosing these horses is a careful process that takes into account their temperament and physical abilities. These horses go through training as intense as that of the soldiers themselves. They're taught to stay calm and focused, even in noisy, crowded environments with lots of movement. They follow precise commands with incredible discipline, showing the same steady composure as their riders. But despite their impressive training, these horses are still animals.
It's a long way from the busy streets of London to this quiet yard in Buckinghamshire.
Well, we've had a bit of a journey, that one, hasn't it?
Life is going to be very different for these new residents of the Horse Trust.
They have natural instincts that can sometimes kick in unexpectedly. A sudden sound, an unfamiliar movement, or a change in the atmosphere can cause reactions that remind everyone they're not machines. This balance between their disciplined training and their animal instincts is what makes their role so captivating and sometimes unpredictable. Interestingly, these horses aren't just tools for the military. They have their own personalities. At the Household Cavalry Museum, visitors can see them up close in their 18th century stables and learn more about their daily lives and training. The unpredictability of these horses is a key reminder of the potential risks in what might seem like a controlled situation. Their behavior is shaped by training, their individual temperament, and their instincts. For tourists, the message is simple: respect the boundaries. The warning signs are not just advice, but important safety guidelines. These horses, while impressive and well-trained, are still powerful animals that can react quickly without warning. The horses of the King's Guard represent a unique mix of military tradition, animal behavior, and public display. They are more than just ceremonial figures. They're living symbols of discipline, power, and unpredictability. Every interaction with these horses is a delicate balance between human curiosity and animal instinct. Their capacity for both gentleness and sudden aggression makes them endlessly fascinating, but also a reminder of the need for respect and caution. As more people are drawn to the iconic King's Guard and their horses, one thing is clear: understanding, keeping a safe distance, and respecting their space are the keys to having a safe and meaningful experience. Even with the unpredictable nature of these incredible horses, you might be curious: how did this centuries-old tradition of royal protection actually get started? Guardians of a living legacy. The King's Guard is more than just a tourist attraction. It's a living part of British military history and royal tradition. These highly trained soldiers, part of the respected Household Division, are tasked with guarding some of the UK's most important royal residences, such as Buckingham Palace and St. James's Palace.
During the Colonel's review at Horse Guards parade on Saturday, a trombonist who is a member of the band of the Welsh Guards fainted while wearing traditional guard attire and was later carried out by a stretcher.
When the monarch resides at Buckingham Palace, the Guard's strength is bolstered to include 3 officers and 40 soldiers. During less busy times, the number of guards is slightly reduced to 3 officers and 31 soldiers. These placements are carefully planned to ensure both security and tradition are maintained. At Buckingham Palace, 4 sentries are stationed in the forecourt, standing as iconic symbols of royal protection. Meanwhile, another 4 sentries are stationed at St. James's Palace, with 2 positioned at Friary Court and 2 at the entrance to Clarence House. These positions not only represent royal authority, but also play an important role in protecting key royal residences. Despite what some may think, the guards are not just for show. They actively provide security around the clock, patrolling the grounds and keeping a constant watch. Interestingly, until 1959, sentries at Buckingham Palace stood outside the fence. This changed after an incident where a Coldstream guardsman kicked a troublesome tourist. The Horse Guards building in Westminster has a long history in British military administration. From the early 18th century until 1858, it served as the main military headquarters of the British Empire. Originally commissioned by King Charles II in 1663, it has gone through many changes, transforming from a cavalry stable to an important administrative center. Modern Guard units now include not just British Army regiments, but also units from the Royal Air Force, Royal Navy, and military units from Commonwealth countries. This diversity highlights how British military tradition has evolved and the growing importance of international cooperation. The process of selecting guards for this role is highly demanding. Soldiers are chosen from 5 top-tier Foot Guards regiments, rotating through different battalions to maintain high standards.
A handshake to mark the start of an enduring relationship. This is the commanding officer of the 2nd Battalion, Royal Gurkha Rifles, meeting his newest soldiers.
Each soldier goes through rigorous training that prepares them for much more than standing still. They must stay calm and ready to handle any security threats that may arise. Their duties go beyond just standing guard. One example is the morning mounted ceremony, where the King's Life Guard rides from Hyde Park Barracks through central London. This is a carefully planned event that showcases military precision. When the monarch is in London, the Guard is made up of 1 officer and 12 soldiers, including a trumpeter and standard bearer. The uniforms of the Guards are a clear reflection of tradition and precision. On ceremonial occasions, they wear detailed outfits that have barely changed over the centuries. For example, the Life Guards wear bright scarlet tunics, metal breastplates, and unique helmets with white plumes, a striking symbol of military pride and history. One interesting tradition that dates back to Queen Victoria's reign is the 4 p.m. inspection. This practice started in 1894, when the Queen discovered that guards were drinking and gambling during the afternoon. As a form of punishment, she ordered a daily inspection, a custom that officially ended in 1994, but still continues today out of respect for the tradition. The Guards' duties extend beyond London as well. They provide sentry services at important sites, like the Tower of London, Windsor Castle, and occasionally at the Palace of Holyrood House in Edinburgh. Each of these postings is not just about security, but also about maintaining centuries of royal protection traditions. The soldiers of the King's Guard are active-duty military personnel, not just ceremonial figures. Many of these regiments have served in major global conflicts, from the Peninsular War to modern peacekeeping missions. Their discipline, training, and dedication go well beyond the iconic locations where tourists typically see them. The King's Guard represents a blend of living history and modern military precision. As symbols of British tradition, they carry on centuries-old customs with impressive discipline and dignity. At the same time, they serve as a modern, highly trained security force, responsible for protecting some of the nation's most important institutions. This dual role makes them much more than ceremonial figures. They are an integral part of the country's defense, linking the past and present with skill and purpose. While visitors continue to be drawn to their stoic presence, one thing is clear: these soldiers are far more than just a display. They are the guardians of a legacy that stretches back centuries, protecting not just buildings, but the core of British royal tradition. Given the rich history of the King's Guard, it's natural to wonder, how have these elite soldiers evolved to handle the challenges of the 21st century? The modern guardians. The household cavalry has gone through a remarkable transformation, shifting from being a purely ceremonial unit to becoming a dynamic and modern military force. In 1992, a significant reorganization occurred when the Life Guards merged with the Blues and Royals, creating the Household Cavalry Regiment.
The Household Cavalry barracks, and we've got Trooper Harry Morton here, whose horse behind me is called Onyx.
This union was unique because, even though the two units merged into a single corps, they still kept their separate identities, uniforms, and traditions. A major turning point in the history of the King's Guard happened in 2018 when the Lifeguards welcomed women into their ranks for the first time. This was a significant shift for a unit with centuries of tradition. Just 2 years later, Elizabeth Godwin made history by becoming the first woman to be commissioned as an officer in the Lifeguards. Her achievement not only marked a milestone for the regiment, but also reflected a wider movement toward greater inclusivity and equality in a field that had long been male-dominated. This change highlights how the British military has evolved, blending tradition with progress. The Lifeguards' role today goes far beyond ceremonial duties. Since their inception, they've been deployed in various conflict zones around the world, including the Balkans, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Over time, they've adapted from mounted cavalry to armored reconnaissance, showcasing their ability to evolve with modern military needs. During the Gulf War of 1990 to 1991, the Lifeguards deployed their Challenger 1 tanks, showcasing their combat capabilities. The regiment's deployment history covers a wide range of modern military operations, from peacekeeping missions in Cyprus to active service in Northern Ireland during the Troubles. Their structure is also unique. Unlike most military units, the Household Cavalry doesn't have standard sergeant ranks. Instead, they use several different grades of corporals. This distinctive setup helps them maintain a special identity within the British Army. Advancements in technology and changes in global dynamics have had a big impact on their training and deployment. Today, the regiment uses advanced armored vehicles and high-tech communication systems, which is a major shift from their original role of mounted cavalry. The 20th century brought dramatic changes to their operations. During World War II, they carried out armored reconnaissance in places like Palestine, Iraq, Iran, Egypt, and Italy. One of the key moments in their modern history was taking part in the Normandy landings in 1944.
For 5 years, Nazi Germany has relentlessly expanded across Europe. We must end it. The mission begins here in Normandy, France.
The regiment's deployments around the world show their broad reach and ability to engage globally. From West Germany during the Cold War to Malaysia in the 1960s, they've proven their ability to adapt to different environments and mission needs. The merger with the Blues and Royals made the unit more flexible. While they still carry out their ceremonial duties, they also play an important role in the British Army's operational forces. Their motto of adaptability is clear in how easily they switch between public duties and active military service. Technology training is now a key part of their preparation. Soldiers need to learn how to operate advanced equipment, understand complex military strategies, and stay in top physical and mental condition. The inclusion of women in the Household Cavalry is about more than just numbers. It marks a major shift in military culture. It shows that skill, dedication, and capability are what truly matters, not gender. Elizabeth Godwin's commissioning is a powerful symbol of this change. Today, their role goes beyond traditional combat. The Household Cavalry is involved in humanitarian missions, peacekeeping, and international security efforts. They're not just a display of military strength, but also key players in diplomacy and global cooperation. The regiment continues to honor its rich traditions while meeting modern military needs. Their iconic uniforms and ceremonial duties still play a significant role, but they also possess critical operational capabilities, creating a blend of respect for history and effectiveness in today's military landscape. As global security challenges change, the Household Cavalry continues to adapt. They stand as a reminder of the British military's ability to evolve, innovate, and uphold the highest standards of professionalism. How do these royal guards balance their centuries-old ceremonial duties with the rapidly changing demands of military service? What stories of courage, sacrifice, and adaptation lie hidden within the ranks of the household cavalry? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.